Thanks to Republic of Cork for inviting me to speak to you today, and to Angie, obviously, for assisting with setting it up, technical difficulties and all. And to all of you for taking the time out from your day to join me. So I appreciate it. Thanks very much. No, it isn't going to my next slide. Oh, it is. Okay, so a little bit about me first. I'm a freelance graphic and web designer based here in the Republic of Cork. So it's really fantastic for me, for my business. And I would definitely highly recommend the space to anyone who is working from home and finding it tough going at the moment. I've experience in a number of disciplines from design to digital marketing. I'm currently studying a master's in digital marketing strategy in MTU. So the people who I work with are mostly startups and SMEs, and I work with them usually to create visuals, digital experiences, and mostly just to kind of create their brand message and to kind of communicate it to their customers. So working with startups allows me to be the most creative. I really like working with a brand from the beginning. You become kind of part of the story and part of the kind of seed of the business. Having the experience to build their brand along with their website and allows me to create consistency for my clients. So you can look at my work on my website, dianehiggins.ie. So please feel free to use the chat to ask any questions, and Angie can kind of maybe put them to me if during it, or afterwards I can have a Q&A at the end anyway. Okay, so I'm hoping that there will be a bit of something for everybody. So from people just starting out and looking to communicate with their customers, to people who are setting up a basic website, or to people who want to sell their products online. So objectives, by the end of the session, we will have gone through the following items. First, establish why you want to take your business online. Learn about some of the different platforms. What are the advantages and disadvantages of each platform? What are the associated costs of each platform? How to set up a basic website on WordPress.com, and how to set up an e-commerce store on Shopify. So this here is Digital Utopia. So in this world, we would all have a presence on all of the channels and a very fancy website and a regular newsletter promoting our business and bringing engaging content to our customers as part of a well thought out marketing strategy. We'd have scheduled posts, and we'd have everything going on that you're supposed to have according to all the textbooks. But that may not actually leave enough time for you to actually run your business. So you need to consider your business, and you need to consider what would be the best fit for your business, but also where your own skills or your own in-house competencies lie. And sometimes as well, what you like to do as opposed to what you don't like to do. So some people are really great at posting on social media, but they're not so good then at the technical stuff, and they find it really daunting. Others would prefer to have an official website that they know how to do, like the most simple changes on, update a page, update a post, and they like to keep it at that. And they mightn't be too keen on the always on nature of social media. So, answering questions, at the weekends or bank holidays or anything like that. So I suppose think about your business and what your business needs above all. And then you also do need to see how does this fit into your own capabilities and your own lifestyle, I suppose, as well. Okay, so I suppose if people would like to quickly add in the chat their reasons for wanting to take their businesses online, that would be great. And maybe we can see how much of it we might cover.
You can also unmute yourself and tell us if you want.
That's true. I'd love to hear your voices. I can't actually see the chat, so maybe unmuting might be the...
So I can read them to you. So Lynn said her fashion startup will be marketed online.
Okay. So I assume Instagram is probably a really good place to start if you're talking about a fashion startup. Anyone else?
And then Colin said he would like to get a wider national and international reach.
Okay. That's it, is it?
Oh, Dennis says he wants to sell their paintings online.
Okay, okay.
Mark says online only, no brick and mortar.
Okay, so digital business. Okay, so there's a few different things here. So, reaching more customers, online only business, national and international. fashion businesses. So they're all quite different. So I suppose the methods and the routes to market will be different for all of them. And especially what you do online then, and especially with the national and international reach, that would need to be carefully considered into what, are you going to go with kind of a third party? Are you going to go with, Amazon, or are you going to go with eBay or something like that to try and get that global reach that you may not get from just having your own local website? Or are you going to go with ads? So there's a few different things, I suppose, going on there with different businesses. So I'll just have a look here at what I had. So why do you want to take your business online? So there's a few different reasons here that are kind of generic, I suppose, but they may apply to some of you. So COVID-19, so obviously that's a major one at the moment. The impact of the coronavirus has taught us the value of having our businesses online more than ever before. So traditional bricks and mortar businesses have suffered really as a result of COVID-19. But we have seen so many businesses being creative with their traditional businesses and going online with new ways of selling their products and services. We all know about the yoga going online and everybody having webinars left, right, and center, including this one. So COVID-19 has also affected many of the other reasons for going online indirectly as well. So word of mouth or networking. As I know myself as a freelancer, running your business from home is not easy. Usually you can get out there and you can network with people and meet people and keep your business to the forefront of people's minds by talking to people and going to events. So I was always going to events when I could. So now that this has not been possible, it may be more difficult to get your business name out there. And if you're a business that has traditionally relied on word of mouth referrals, the lack of your clients meeting up with one another has also resulted in a loss of business for many. So perhaps in this situation, LinkedIn should be your online platform of choice if you are looking for kind of networking. I know I do a lot of my own business through LinkedIn. Alternatively, a local networking Facebook group may be the way to go, or joining an established networking group and kind of starting to put yourself out there and going to their events. Starting out, so establishing yourself online could be another reason. A natural part of starting your business is to design your logo, set up your website, and then off you go. So you need somewhere for your customers to go when they Google your business. So there's kind of an expectation, I suppose, from people that what's your website? So if you just feel that you're doing it in order just to have a website, that's a pretty legitimate reason as well. And there is an expectation. So you want to be found online so that when your potential customers, I suppose, look at your business card, there's a website on there, and that they don't go elsewhere. A basic website that you design yourself on WordPress.com may be all you need just to get you up and running. So I'll go through this in depth later on as well. Selling online. So you may have previously sold your products in store and you may want to expand to selling online to expand international or global markets, or you may want to streamline your shipping methods and your order system. So Shopify is an online platform that you can set up your own e-commerce store that is very, very easy to use. So I'll go through this in depth later on as well. Digital businesses. So I think there was somebody mentioned a digital business. So there's a number of online digital only businesses. So digital products, online courses, online professional services. So if you're selling an online only product or service, you must consider your online presence carefully and choose the right platforms for you. So there are lots of third-party platforms, I guess, that you can kind of piggyback on as well for that. So perhaps an online marketplace such as Etsy might be the way to go for this. I know somebody mentioned selling paintings, so Etsy is always a good one for crafts. Communication. So you may not be changing anything at all about how you operate your business or how you sell your products or services, but you may want to communicate better with your customers. So you may even already have a website. And as things are changing so rapidly at the moment with closures and different businesses opening, and all the different restrictions that are on, people kind of don't know what's happening. So it is very important to let your customers know what's happening with your business and to let them feel that they are aware of any new developments. There are loads of ways to do this. So that can be email, it can be social media, or it can be just updating your own website regularly. Or updating on Google to let your customers, I suppose, know what the up-to-date information is. Advertising. So you may decide that you want to advertise online using Google Ads or social media advertising. So I won't be covering this aspect today, but it will be important if you are advertising online that you have somewhere to direct people. So, even if you do an advertising campaign, where are they going to go when they do see your adverts? So do you create a landing page on your current website, or do you direct them straight to your Facebook page? So there's a case study here of a traditional bricks and mortar business that went online. So I saw this recently on the Examiner. And I thought that it demonstrated the power of going online even in a small capacity for traditional businesses. So this is Shandon Sweets, the little sweet shop that some of you may know. It's run by the Linehan family. They make handmade sweets, and they're a family-run business that was handed down from generation to generation since 1929. So I just saw this in the Examiner, and I thought it was very interesting. Tony Linehan said to the Examiner that his nephew convinced him to go online rather than for the business to go under due to COVID. So they sell 10 products online at the moment, and they sell them across the country. And according to Tony, their business has never been better. So although the intention for them is to return to selling from the shop when they can, selling online has only enhanced their business, and they intend to keep selling online once they do go back to normal. So it has really had a positive impact across the board for their business. Okay, so in terms of the different channels, then we'll start with email. So if you're just looking to communicate with your customers, email is a very simple way to do this. Now, it will mean that you will need a database of email addresses of customers that's GDPR compliant. So if you have a look on dataprotection.ie, you'll be able to see the GDPR compliance rules. So simply put, for this, really, they need to have opted in to receive mail from you. So you can't just go around emailing people without their permission, really. So you could use MailChimp to create a nice email template. It's really user-friendly, and it's free for up to 500 contacts if you send less than 6,000 emails per month. But 6,000 is quite a lot. Now, MailChimp have changed how they work over the past few years. There used to be a bit more functionality with it. So they're kind of pushing for the premium version more and more, but it's still a very good option for free users if you're just looking for, I suppose, up to 6,000 emails a month, and you're just looking for a basic template in order to kind of send out to your customers. So HubSpot, they're a more premium product, but they're a very, very powerful tool. So if you have a few quid, I suppose, to push behind email, I would definitely recommend HubSpot. It's great for integration with the website, and it has become kind of a massive lead generation tool. So a lot of big companies use HubSpot to communicate with their customers. Or you could just keep it simple, and you could just write an email with information about your business as you would to a friend. So this approach helps to get through the spam filters as well, because some of the email providers will kind of filter out some of the template emails as well, and from lists. So sometimes as well, people can see this kind of simple email approach as a bit of a breath of fresh air from the templated emails. So a couple of points to bear in mind if you're using this method are not to overload people with information, as there is a bit of an overwhelm right now. So everybody's emailing everybody all the time to say what's happening. So just keep it short and say what you need to say. A good rule of thumb is to keep just one point or just one call to action per email, and always offer a contact method for further queries. So this could be your website, your social media, the option to reply to the email itself, or just your contact number. So whichever is most likely to have the information that the customer needs and when they need it. And obviously, if you're giving out your phone number, if you're only available during the day, you need to kind of state that as well. And don't contact them by email too often. So also, I suppose, bear in mind as well that you can't just list the email addresses of your customers so that they can all see each other's. So you need to put the list in what's called blind carbon copy, BCC. I'm sure most of you are familiar with that. But you would still be amazed at how often I see this rule being broken. And it really comes off really badly. And people aren't too happy when it happens to them if their email address is sent to like hundreds of other people. So if you are unsure how to do this with your email provider, just Google it really, and just test it first as well, so that you know that people aren't, getting everybody else's email addresses in their email as well. Okay, so social media. So for communicating with customers, social media is a great bet, and obviously many people know this already. So you don't need an email list to start with. So it's quite simple. It's free to get set up. So obviously, apart from your time, which obviously is a great cost as well. So depending where your customers are, you can choose which social media platform best suits. So Facebook is really good for B2C businesses, and traditional bricks and mortar businesses can connect really well with the customers using Facebook pages through posting content, images, videos, as well as competitions, etc. And now Facebook have Facebook shops where you can sell online from your Facebook page as well. So LinkedIn is really great for B2B services businesses. that have a personal element. It's also a great place to expand your network if networking and word of mouth is the reason that you're going online. For me as a graphic designer, LinkedIn is one of my most powerful online tools, because I suppose I'm B2B and because I'm services and that I'm kind of a personal brand as well. So I currently get most of my new clients through LinkedIn. So that actually surprised me myself at first, because it can often be overlooked by people as a social media platform and as a kind of a lead generation tool. Instagram is really good for any businesses that have a visual element. So I suppose the fashion business maybe that we were mentioned before. Although I suppose as a graphic designer myself, I think that most businesses have a visual element or can kind of create a visual element for themselves. But there are some businesses, I suppose, that lend themselves particularly well to Instagram: lifestyle, fashion, design, wedding, photography, anything with a strong emphasis on the visual. Because content will come for Instagram, content will come much more easily to these businesses. Twitter is really good for engaging with customers in the now. It's really good for businesses that have an in the moment nature. So public services, the media, anything like that. Or if you're kind of looking to get into the media, or to show that you're in the know about all of these things, then Twitter is a very good platform for that. TikTok or Snapchat. So I suspect that if your customers are on these, you're already online. And if not, you just need to get on those platforms and kind of start experimenting with them as much as possible. But you can be honest, and you can kind of say to your customers, look, I'm new at this, I'm just trying it out, and you can just kind of just get going, really, and that's the same for all of them. So the advantages of social media over other, I suppose, options, it's really good for interacting with customers. So if customers are spending their time here, then it's easier for them to find you. So they're already here, so you don't need to try bringing them somewhere that they don't want to go. Again, you don't necessarily need a website, and it's easy to set up a page or a business profile on social media. You can sign up for a social media account now and you can get started right away, and there's a very small learning curve, which is really good. It's a real-time solution, which means that you can capture your audience's attention in the moment, which is an engaging way to connect with customers. There are opportunities to advertise within most of the platforms that give you good insights on the audience. So there are good analytics available afterwards, and that you can use when you're planning your future efforts. So you can kind of look at your analytics and say, okay, what kind of reach is this getting? What kind of reach is this getting? Okay, so I'm going to kind of go more towards that post or that kind of post or that audience, so the analytics are very good on some of the social media platforms. So it is good to focus on the platforms that you feel best suit your business and your audience, but there's lots of tools as well that will help you to save time. So by scheduling your posts and by cross-posting. So Facebook's Creator Studio, which is it within your Facebook app. So again, if you come across any of these and you're wondering where they are, again, Google is your best friend really with all of this kind of stuff. Just Google it, and there's loads of videos on YouTube that will just show you where all of these tools are, and you'll find your own way with it. So Hootsuite, Lately Social, lots of other third-party apps. They can help you to cross-post across lots of different social media platforms, so that reduces the time that it takes to kind of post to all the different platforms. And they can help you as well when you're kind of optimizing your image sizes and things like that. So there are some disadvantages of social media. So Facebook and Instagram and Google. So Google doesn't really love Facebook and Instagram, really. So no matter how good your pages are on Facebook or how many followers you are, I mean, you could be Justin Bieber, and it's not going to actually help your SEO at all. So LinkedIn is a bit better for getting found on Google. So just if you are thinking about kind of getting found on Google and using social media, just remember, I suppose, that Facebook and Instagram, no matter how good they are, they're not going to get you found on Google. So content is king. Creating content for these platforms is key, and often people don't have the time to be constantly updating their social media when they're running a business. So a tool here, I'm sure many of you know about it already, canva.com. If you don't, just go onto it and have a look. So it's really your best friend for this. So if you're unsure how to start with creating content and making it look good, have a look at Canva's tutorials on their website, because they do have some very good tutorials to show you how to use the tool. So there are restrictions on the types of products that you can sell, particularly on Facebook pages. So look up Facebook's terms and conditions for a full list of prohibited items. So, a lot of these are kind of ones that, maybe people aren't selling anyway. Okay, so you don't own the platform. And sometimes on social media, people can turn nasty, and if because you don't own it, it's not your website, you don't have much control really over what people are saying. And, you know, this can, I suppose, knock people's confidence, and it can kind of stop people from posting on social media as well. And, you know, there are a lot of trolls on the different platforms as well. So just be mindful, I suppose. And as you don't own the platform as well, you need to think about what would happen if they went under in the morning. So how dependent are you on it? And would you have to start from scratch again? You know, if you lost all your Instagram followers, you know, what would you do then? So tips for social media. Checking when your audience are online through looking at your analytics is always a good idea. As if you post when your audience are online, it makes it more likely that you will reach more people. So when
I wonder, sorry to interrupt you, I wonder if we're on the right slide.
Yeah, we are. We're still just talking about social media and kind of the different advantages and different disadvantages.
Fab.
So what was I talking about? Yeah, okay. So when you're starting out on social media as well, I suppose if you try to fill out all of the sections on your profile, because if people do click on your profile, then you want it to look good and give them the information that they want. And one of the keys for social media as well is that it's not all about you. So make sure you engage with other people, make sure you like their posts, make sure you share their content, and then they will be more likely to notice you, and they'll be more likely to share your post then as well. Because if you're just sending everything out all the time without engaging with anyone else, then I suppose nobody will even kind of know that you're doing that unless you're engaging with them. And on that note as well, I suppose many companies make the mistake of seeing social media as kind of solely a sales platform to talk about their products and their services. But remember that people don't go onto social media to be sold to. They go on to be entertained, they want to be inspired, and they go on to engage with others. So keep the sales pitches kind of to a minimum, really, if you can. Okay, so third-party marketplace listings. So examples of these are the likes we spoke earlier of Etsy for crafts, wedding dates for the wedding industry nationally, local directories like Just Eat for the restaurants in different geographic locations, and then product-specific directories like Amazon or eBay. So again, I'll go through the advantages and disadvantages of these. So the advantages of these types of listings are that you piggyback with their marketing. And that gives you access to their customer base, which, depending on the market, can save you a lot of money in advertising on Google Ads for high-value keywords. So they're paying for the advertising for you, essentially. You don't have to have your own website, so they make it very easy for you to set up an account and for you to upload your products and your descriptions. You get a page that you can direct people to from other online platforms, such as directing your social media to your Etsy shop, where people can purchase your products directly, and you don't necessarily need to set up your own payment platforms or anything like that. And they'll sort out the payment from the customer for you, which saves you having to process all of the payments and stuff as well. So in terms of disadvantages then, so competition really is a major one. So there's a lot of competition on these websites for the customers. So things like getting excellent reviews or choosing to advertise within their platform can boost your views. So you will need to kind of put time into making sure that your listings are written to enable users to find your products over the competition, especially when you start out and you don't have a solid reputation. So if you have a really good social media following and you want to direct your customers to buy from you, sometimes directing them to one of these sites is almost as good as directing them to your competition, as once they go to your listing, they're just a click away from your competitor. So if you do have a really great customer base already, maybe your own website might end up being the better choice. So that they're kind of, funneled into your kind of owned site. So price factors are key on these websites as well. So like customers will click to the next company to find a better price. And again, it's just a click away then to get a better price. So they're not good for services-based businesses really. And then the analytics can often be poor for the organic or free listings. And then you only kind of get better analytics if you're kind of paying for advertising within these platforms. So I suppose it's to encourage you to kind of pay for more ads as well so that you get better analytics. So in terms of costs, so you do save on website development costs, hosting costs, domain charges, but you do have to pay percentages of sales and transaction fees depending on the platform. So it is worth looking at your expected sales and figuring out the better options. So, depending on what you think your sales are going to be, having a look and seeing, would you be better off to do your own website and put money into SEO, or would you be better off to go on one of these platforms? Or the other option, I suppose, is to try it out and just see how you get on. So tips for third-party listings. So one tip here is that SEO is just as important within these sites as it is on Google. I suppose everybody thinks of SEO as Google only, but actually these are essentially search engines, really. They have similar features such as paid ads, keyword searches, and kind of an emphasis on listing images. So I'm actually doing my master's thesis myself on the impact of listing images on click-through rates on Etsy. A bit of a mouthful, but I suppose there is an impact on the different elements if you kind of take them out and kind of see it as a search engine, essentially. And another tip is that there are some other kind of subscription services that you can purchase that will kind of help you when you're optimizing your listings. So for Etsy, there's a subscription to eRank, which is a really great tool that kind of helps you to look at your listing and to see how it will compare with the competition for SEO for certain keywords and things like that. So it is good to kind of see what else is out there if you're using one of these kind of marketplace listings. Okay, so DIY website. So for a brochure website, so this is kind of informational based, really. So you can do a DIY website on WordPress using a template, and I'll go through that there shortly. There are other sites that you can build DIY websites on, such as Wix, Weebly, Squarespace. So this may be just to give information or have an online presence, or if you spend some time on it, you can make a pretty good website using these templates, and it's pretty easy to do. The secret is just to spend time playing around with the options and following their steps. So the advantages of building your own DIY website as opposed to the other options that we looked at. So it's easy to learn. It does take a bit of time and effort, but it is easy to learn. It will be your website, so you will have a say in how it looks and what goes on there and what doesn't. So the cost, I suppose, it's pretty much free to build your own website from a template. There may be costs for extra features or for premium templates, but it is pretty much free to start out. There is no domain charges, no hosting costs, and you get the secure badge from their security without having to pay extra each year. They'll also look after all of the technical support, so there's no need to worry about the servers or the speed or any of the technical stuff like that. You can get your own free domain, but it will include like .wordpress.com, and you can pay for a domain that doesn't have that as well. So disadvantages. There are limited templates that are free, and once you have it set up, it may be more difficult to change to a different template if you change your mind. So I suppose you want to maybe think about it before you do it. It will take a cost to you in terms of time to learn the basics and to set it up and to update it. So, if you are time poor, then it may not be the best option. If you haven't done it before, it may not look the most professional when compared with other websites. But again, the more you do it, the better you'll get at it, same as everything else, So the tips here for doing your own DIY website. So this might sound a bit obvious, but one tip when building a website yourself is that you're not the first to encounter whatever problem you may have. And no matter what you want to know how to do, Google knows the answer. So, don't be afraid to Google the answers. My phone beeped there, so I'm just going to turn it on to silent. Okay, so WordPress.com, so the DIY setup. So you click on Get Started and you follow the steps. So step one is to sign up for an account. So it's pretty easy, and they will take you through each step by step. Step two is choose your domain name. So this will be the URL or the website address that people will see your website at. So you can get a free domain name, which will include .wordpress.com, which I already said, or you can pay for your preferred domain name. So at the moment, some of these ones that don't have .wordpress.com are actually free for a year, and then you renew it after the year, with the renewal kind of starting then from anywhere between €18 to kind of €50 each year then after that. So you can get it kind of free for a year. So this option with WordPress.com can kind of be as free as you want it to be. You can kind of start free, and then you can start adding on if you feel you need to. So that does make it a little bit flexible, apart from the kind of choosing a template. So step number 3 is select your plan. So to get the free website, you need to click on the red text at the top that says start with the free site. So they kind of have it a little bit hidden there. But, you know, if you know where to go, you can just click on that. Step 4 then is your dashboard. So it's a really good idea to have the dashboard open in one tab, and the website URL. So that's your website domain name, you know, whatever it is, .wordpress.com. And you can open that in another tab. And as you're making the changes, then you can click refresh on the website tab, and then you can see what your changes look like once implemented. So like, as you make a change, you can check to see what it looks like, because sometimes things don't look as you think that they should. But I suppose if you're looking at it live, then it just helps you to see how it's going to look. And there's no need to worry about this because nobody else will be able to see your website yet until you publish it. So step 5, so I spoke about themes earlier. So it is a good idea to choose your theme that you think best fits with your website at the beginning. And then you will be able to see what information you need for that particular theme. So different themes have different kind of widgets. So if you want one with, you know, an Instagram feed or whatever, you know, you need to just make sure that you're choosing the right theme really at the beginning. So step 6 then is to add your content and your information. So once you've chosen your theme, you go through the dashboard options on the left-hand side of the menu, and fill in the information on the center pane, saving as you go. So like literally go through that dashboard from top to bottom, and start filling everything in as you go, and then your website will be kind of ready to go. So step 7 then is launch. So once you're happy then with your content, you go to settings and you go to launch your website. So you will need to have confirmed your email address to do this. It will try and get you to choose a payment plan again, but again, you can click the start with the free plan option at the top as before. So they are kind of trying to push you to get a plan, but if you don't want, and you can continue with the free plan forever. So step 8 is privacy. So make sure you choose the public option under privacy, and you need to enable the search engines to index. So this will make the site go live then, meaning that people and search engines can now see the website online at that URL. And so that's it. So that's your website built, and you know, it's pretty easy. Okay, so a DIY e-commerce website. So Shopify, I'm going to go through. So this is an e-commerce website builder, and it allows you to very easily set up your own online store. So this is good for if you haven't sold your products online before, but now you want to. You can do a free trial of Shopify for 14 days without entering any credit card details. So this will allow you kind of time to create your shop and upload your products before going live. But remember that there is a monthly charge after this, which is anything from $29 a month for a basic plan. And a percentage of your earnings will go to Shopify as well. So for the basic plan, it's 2.2%. And then there's a 25-cent charge per transaction as well as that. So, you know, these fees do kind of start to add up. Unlike the WordPress option, there's no free Shopify plan. You do get the 14 days to kind of build it. And then I suppose after that, you are looking at the monthly fees after that. But there are free themes and there are premium themes. And again, you can start with kind of the more basic options, and then you can kind of add on if it goes well for your business. Okay, so step 1, to start your free trial, you go to shopify.com. Step 2 is you enter your details. So again, you know, they're taking step by step through it really, and you know, as long as you follow the steps, you can't really go too much wrong. Step 3, you enter your information, so you choose your industry, and you know, you just give them a little bit of information about yourself. Step 4, add an address. It says so you can get paid. I think adding your bank account is probably a bit more important for that when you are going to launch. Step 5, so this is your dashboard. So your dashboard where you manage all the aspects of your website. So I set up a free trial yesterday for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to go online now and I'm going to go through this live just so that you can see the dashboard and kind of all the things that you need to do on it. So I'm just going to share here. Sorry. Sorry, I'll just stop the share for 1 second. just the Zoom dashboard is kind of getting in my way a little bit. 1 second here now, I will check again. Okay. So this is your dashboard here. So under here, under online store, is where you kind of start. So again, similar to WordPress, I would suggest that you start with your theme and you choose your theme first. So again, there are free themes and there's premium themes. So it's important, I suppose, that you kind of just have a look first and see which theme that you want. So under here, there's free themes and that you can click here and explore free themes. So I actually chose a theme last night, so I just clicked on debut. So there are other ones that you can just pick. So I've picked that one here now. And then you can click here to customize your theme. So this then is your homepage. So again, if you have the tab with your dashboard open, and then you also have the tab with your live shops. So mine is ROW for public work, lunch and learn.myshopify.com. So that is my actual URL for the shop. So you can keep that open and then you can hit refresh as you're working, and then you will be able to see the changes live. Okay, so here is my homepage. So you literally, again, similar to WordPress, you go through each part of this menu here on your dashboard, and you can go through each and you can figure out what you want to do with them. So here's my header. So you can go to your logo. Again, I uploaded my logo here. And you could just select this one. And then again, you just go through all of the options. You can change the size, you can change the width of the logo here. You can go to the slideshow. So here you can see where the slides are showing at the moment. So then you can start to add your own images here. So you can select an image. Again, you can explore from there. They have free images here. So, so I figured that we might set up like a t-shirt store. So look, so you can just go through. I'm going to look for kids. Let's see. And you can just pick, okay, so I'm going to put that, and now that's part of my slide. Okay, so that's perfect. So that's my image. Again, you can go back. So you just go through all of those and talk about your brand. So that's under rich text here. So where I have some, okay, I don't, but you can get some lorem ipsum just to show changing. Okay, so let's take some dummy text here. So if you have all of your content kind of created, ready to go, you can just copy and paste it in here, and then you'd see all of your stuff is changing as you're going, and it's really, really easy to do. So we'll save that, and you just go through each of those all the way down, and eventually then you'll have your website built. Now, you don't yet have any products, but you do have your kind of homepage. So in order to kind of add your products, you go up here. So if you look at this down here, this is kind of everything that has to kind of do with your website and kind of the front end. And all of these then are kind of your back end. So, you know, what your orders are and your revenue and all of that, your analytics, all of that kind of stuff is all up here. So we go to products, and then you click on add a product. And then again, you know, you go through each of these items, and I'll go through some of them here. So, you know, kids t-shirt, so you can give it a title. Again, I can add some text in here, and it's really, really simple. So you just go to t-shirt. So I'm going to add in this image. There we go. And then I'm going to add in a pink one. It's time there. Okay, so then you can go into price. So you can price what your t-shirt costs. So I'm going to say it's €10. and then compare at price. So maybe, you know, it had previously been selling for €15, so it's now on sale for €10, which is fine. Now, customers won't see this bit, but you can start putting in your cost per item here, and you can start putting in your margins. You can see your margins, your profit, and your stock keeping units. So, you know, if you are a traditional store, I suppose, and you do have your own SKUs, you can start to put them in here so that they'll coordinate with your other ones. Again, how many of these do I have available? So maybe I have 20 to sell. Again, what's the weight? So you just go through all of that. So variants, so different sizes. So you can have small, medium, large, you know, whatever you want to do. Or obviously if it's kids one, you can do, you know, different ages or whatever, and then you can do your variants. So you just separate them with a comma. So I have a blue one, I think I had a white one, and I had a pink one. Okay, so my blue one, they're all the same price. You know, how many white ones do I have? And then it's automatically kind of giving you the SKUs here, but you can change them to coordinate with your other ones. So I'm just going to save that, and that is my first product then. And we should be able to see it over here on the live site if we refresh. Let's see. My product isn't here for some reason. Okay. It hasn't updated. But in general, if where your products are, it should start to update when you have your products added. So again, similar to the WordPress, you just go through. Again, you go through each aspect of this, and you just, you know, change it to suit what you want. You can add your blog posts, you can add more pages. So it's not just a home page, you can add more pages to your website. And then you click on your preferences, and you go through all of those. And then down here at the end, when you are ready, you can launch your site. So you need to set up your payments here. And again, go through all of these, you know, with your taxes and your shipping costs and all of that stuff. And when you're ready, then you go to online store here. And currently it's password protected. So in order to disable the password, that is when you then have to, you know, select a plan. And then you will be able to launch your site, and your site will go live. So that's kind of it. So I'm going to just stop the share again for 1 second. And we're nearly there. Let's just look here. Okay. Okay, so can you see my PowerPoint?
No, we're still on Shopify.
You're still on Shopify.
Oh yeah, we're on PowerPoint now, but it's we have the notes as well.
Okay. Now?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Great. Okay. So now that we've gone through some of the options, I suppose, to getting your business online. So we had to look at the Shopify and the WordPress and social media and the email and all the different options. So it is worth noting, I suppose, that there are options out there if you don't feel that you have the capability to do this yourself, or if it all sounds a little bit daunting or too time consuming. Although I'm hoping that having seen how kind of step by step it is, you know, that you can just kind of, you know, try it out and see. But there are a number of ways to get help, I suppose. And the first one is, I suppose, to look at who you have in-house. So you may have somebody who's good with tech stuff and who can learn quickly. So they might be looking for a bit of responsibility, and they might be happy to take on the role. So, you know, you might just have somebody there that isn't you that, you know, can do it and will be happy to do it. So you could look at upskilling yourself or another member of staff again. So there's really like loads of really great courses online, and often a lot of these are funded. You know, there's loads of SkillNet courses and things like that. There's loads of webinars in all of these kinds of things, as well as Udemy courses or any of those kinds of ones. And that you can just kind of upskill and, get the capabilities if you don't already have them. You can hire a professional like me to give you a hand or to do it for you. And then you can kind of concentrate on running the business. And, maybe you can give a hand with creating content and stuff, but maybe you don't want to do all of that technical stuff yourself. And the cost of this then can also be helped with the funding available. So such as like the local enterprise office offer funding of 50%. Last year it was kind of up to 90%, but it's 50% again at the moment, up to the value of 2,500. And so this can be used to cover costs such as hiring somebody, but it can also be used for costs like to pay your Shopify fees and things like that. So and your marketing costs as well. So you can use it kind of with whatever way you kind of see fit. So you don't have to use it just to hire a web designer. You can use it to kind of get a kind of a variety of jobs done. Which is very good as well. So it's well worth applying. There are kind of a few kind of criteria that you have to kind of have, such as, having less than 10 employees, being in business 6 months and stuff. There's not too many, and it is definitely worth having a look at. So that's it really for me. So thanks again for joining me. Sorry for all the screen share issues, but that's what I suppose what we've come to expect these days. So thanks again to Republic of Work and to Angie for inviting me along. Please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, or you can check out my website on dianehiggins.ie. So this webinar has been recorded, so it will be available to watch back on Republic of Work's website if you do want to kind of follow along with it, if you are kind of deciding that you're going to kind of build it yourself and you want to just follow along. And if anyone has any questions, please go ahead, take yourself off mute, and I will do my best to answer them as best I can. Thanks.
Thanks a million, Diane. There's loads of people thank you there in the chat box as well.
That's great. I will stop my share there so I can see you. Okay.
And if anyone has any questions as well, you can unmute yourself. We have a few minutes left. It's just started buffeting down. Denise asked which website you'd recommend for selling art online.
For selling art?
Yeah.
So really Etsy would kind of be the go-to for any of the craft stuff, I think. But again, you might decide that Amazon might be for you. And I know that a lot of the likes of the Amazons and stuff have started, because of Etsy have been so successful, they have started to kind of do more of the craft kind of stuff as well. But I would definitely think that Etsy is a very good place to start. Also social media, I think, putting up your work and, getting people interested in your work. Yes, you do, I suppose, need to have a platform to sell it on, but you also need to kind of market it as well, as much as you can. So I would definitely suggest Instagram for the artists as
well. Lynn asks, can you go over the charges on Shopify again? So the recording will actually be available within the next week. If you want, Lynn, you can email me and I can send you the recording and you can go through it at your own pace.
Yeah, well, I suppose the basic plan for Shopify is $29 a month, and it goes up from there. And there is a 2.5% transaction, or there's a transaction fee of 25 cents, and then there's 2.5% of your earnings as well to Shopify. Now that varies with the different plans, but that's for the basic kind of plan. So that's kind of the minimum that you'll be paying in terms of the $29 a month. But then the fees kind of go down if you're paying more per month. So you probably do want to kind of have a look and just see what your expected sales are, and pick the plan that you think would best suit you. But I would suggest maybe starting with the 2.5%, and then 25 cents per transaction as well. Yeah, 25 cents. Yeah. It is confusing. Yeah. So I suppose if you just have a look at their website, and they'll have it all kind of laid out for you on that. But those transaction fees vary with the plan. So 25 cents is for the basic one. So it would vary then depending on the different plan that you're on.
And I think Margaret had a question as well. It said, if you're a service business, how easy would it be to process a payment from WordPress?
From WordPress. So I guess it depends on which version of WordPress that you're using, and what type of payment that you're processing. So, on WordPress.org, which is the one that you can get people to build for you, you can integrate with WooCommerce, and you can integrate your Stripe, you can integrate your PayPal and things like that on WordPress. So I guess it depends on if you're using WordPress.com and you're building it yourself. That depends on kind of what way you build it. And again, so there are obviously transaction fees for PayPal and for Stripe and things like that. So it is easily done, but again, you need to look at which is the best option for your business. If WordPress is the best option or if Shopify is the best option. But they are all easily done. And I mean, the further we go, I suppose, into the technology stuff, the easier they are becoming day to day, and they're very easy to kind of just set up in terms of the setup of them. Yeah.
I think they've covered all the questions.
Great. And if anybody has any other questions anyway, feel free to kind of just send me over an email or connect with me on LinkedIn. I can be found hanging out there most of the time.
And we'll include Diane's LinkedIn as well in the follow-up email as well, so it'll be a nice, easy click straight through. Thanks so much, Diane.
Thanks very much.